Hello, my name is Adam Holt. I'm the founder of AssetMap, and I want to welcome you to our newest project called Compass, which came out of our AdviceTech Live symposium, where we brought together many fintech solutions to help figure out what advisors should be using in their practice. So the Compass actually is something that I hope that you find opportunity in, as well as give us feedback on. Let me walk you through a little bit about what we're trying to do with this Compass. Now, first of all, we should understand that most of the financial technology that we all acquire as financial advisors tends to be around these same types of solutions. What are they? They tend to be around financial planning, CRM, portfolio document management. What we learned is that there's core technology that almost all financial advisors have today. They tend to be in these 8 or 9 categories. And what's happening is we're seeing actually that there's a rounding out of additional types of tools and technologies that are actually very effective in an advisor's practice. And they are becoming more and more of the commonplace stack. And if you add this to the fact that we're adding client portals and advisor portals and dashboards on top of this, you start to get a very interesting but complex picture of the core technology, the value adds that we think are multipliers on top of the outer rim, and then the internal customer engagement experiences that are important. Now, what's important about this specific map is that when we organized it, we recognized that there was actually a theme that surpassed the typical core technology stack, which tended to be CRM, planning, and portfolio management. Because actually it turns out, depending upon how you run a practice, that at the very top or the northern section, you find that there's a lot of client engagement tools. That means there's an actual customer interaction. And then at the bottom or the southern area, we find that they're more practice management. How do you execute the delivery of advice and management of financial resources or solutions? And so the way that you want to think about this is that all of these tools have some influence, because the way that we experience this is from top to bottom in our practice. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. When you think about where these tools fit, you want to think about it in the context of the advisor journey. How are customers coming into your entire practice, and where do they touch on the different technology or technical solutions that are available today? Typically, we see customers coming in through marketing, automation, or other forms of digital, either advertising or even referral resources and so forth. But in some measure, they are touching a digital profile or presence. And that's why it's really important for us to manage the marketing side of an advisor's practice, because the brand and digital reputation really lives on. We have to be intentional about that. Typically, once they come through marketing, you tend to see client profiling. We're seeing a significant number of client direct-to-customer engagement tools, either data collection or profiling tools that are important here. And they tend to feed into the financial planning, which often pushes into the CRM experience. So when you think about where these tools start getting touched early on in the customer engagement process, client profiling, marketing, planning starts to touch it, and so does CRM. We also tend to see client scheduling programs very prolific now, especially given the recent changes in delivery of advice remotely. And this is really important that you consider where that comes in and attaches to the CRM and some of the other tools that are going to be using it. Often specialty planning tools, which include education analysis, Social Security, tax, and or in some cases risk or independent risk profiling tools, tend to live in the specialty planning tools. But then of course they all tend to flow into some form of risk or allocation management profiling tools and or presentation tools for how we are going to recommend changes to the portfolios as we see them. Then, of course, it comes time to implement these things, and we're seeing a huge push towards automatic straight-through processing or account opening, whether that's on the investment, insurance, annuity, banking, property and casualty side. There's a huge shift towards this, and this is becoming table stakes. We have to have a clear, defined process for moving from CRM or from portfolio recommendations right into account opening, because that's typically the next step. We have seen, of course, digital signature take off, and there are many opportunities for an advisor to capture signature, and we need to make sure that that's there. So be sure to have an intentional outlet here. There are growing solutions available, and we'll, of course, catalog them as they become known to us. Portfolio management, once somebody is a client, whether it's on the typical or the complex product or solution that's used, is really essential. And this is where we tend to live as advisors, is managing our clients in this space. And we can't ignore the fact that this is almost critical to our customer experience delivery, that portfolio management, whether using one or two tools is going to be really critical to delivering on that value proposition on an ongoing basis. And that's why accounting and administration and performance tools are going to become really important, because they become the front door for many clients to actually experience the results that we're delivering as advisors. On the other side of account opening, document management, especially given the regulatory and compliance attitudes these days, are really critical, because we need to be able to inspect the process as well as all of the documentation that's cataloged over long periods of time. And so it's important that we create an entire library that is accessible not only by us, but also from a regulatory as well as compliance and firm level, because of where this is going. And I think critically we need to focus on this. And if you're not doing note capturing and dictation in KYC or CYA, depending upon how you want to look at it, this is really critical, and these tools need to push into the CRM. So this is not intended to be a full integration diagram, but it's to really express the importance upon understanding how these tools work in conjunction with each other. And one of the things that you'll also see on here is we've also put some credence to the business intelligence, because data management is going to be really important long term to understand the big data aspects of firms and of course enterprises, to understand where there's opportunity and problems in the entire consumer base. And of course, I think that client billing is going to become more important, so we've given it its own space on the map. Client portals and advisor portals are constantly evolving. Putting all of this technology into a single pane of glass is really exciting for a lot of companies. And of course, integrations are really critical. Let's kind of take a moment to consider how our current Compass works so that you can use it to its most effective nature. So this is the current AdviceTech map of the market, what we call Compass today. And what you'll find when you go to our site is that you can click on each of these components and you can find out which carriers, which solutions are available in this marketplace. Feel free to take some time and play with these. Also, you'll notice that all of these companies are actually accessible. Simply by clicking on them, you can get right to their website if you're looking to try to get engaged, run demos, and so forth. This list will continue to grow, so I encourage you to actually reach out to us. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll notice that you can actually add suggestions and also corrections if you think it needs it. So please enjoy. This is the first round of 3 visions we have for this. Eventually, we hope to be able to actually help you build the entire tech stack with guidance that is completely agnostic to the market. So we thank you so much for being part of this. Please contribute back to the project, and hopefully you have an awesome experience with Compass.